When you were 7 years old, someone told you that you were smart. Maybe it was a teacher who noticed you finished the test before everyone else. Maybe it was a parent who watched you read books meant for children twice your age. Maybe it was a standardized test that put a number next to your name, and that number was higher than the other numbers, and suddenly the adults in your life started looking at you differently, with pride, with expectation, with that particular smile that says this one is going to be special, and you believed them. You carried that label like a golden ticket. Smart, gifted, advanced. You thought it was a blessing. You thought it meant the world would open its doors for you, that success would come easier, that life would make more sense to you than it did to everyone else. Nobody sat you down and told you the truth. Nobody pulled you aside and said, listen carefully, because I am about to tell you something that will save you decades of confusion. That intelligence you are so proud of is going to hurt you. It is going to isolate you from people you love. It is going to make you see things you wish you could unsee. It is going to keep you awake at 3 in the morning while the rest of the world sleeps peacefully in the warm blanket of ignorance. It is going to make you question everything, including whether questioning everything is itself a form of madness. Nobody told you that the ability to see through people means watching them lie to your face and having to pretend you do not notice. Nobody told you that understanding human motivation at a deep level means witnessing the selfishness behind every generous act, the fear behind every brave face, the manipulation behind every "I love you." Nobody told you that pattern recognition, the very skill that makes you excellent at solving problems, would also make you excellent at predicting pain, at seeing the end of relationships before they begin, at knowing the project will fail while everyone else is still celebrating the launch. Nobody told you that being the smartest person in the room is not a victory. It is a sentence to a lifetime of seeing clearly in a world that survives on blur. Niccolo Machiavelli was one of the most intelligent men who ever lived. He could read a political situation the way a surgeon reads an X-ray. He could see the tumor behind the smile. He could predict the betrayal 3 moves before it happened. He understood human nature at a level so deep and so unflinching that 5 centuries later we still use his name as an adjective for cunning. And what did that intelligence get him? It got him fired. It got him arrested. It got him tortured. It got him exiled to a farmhouse where he spent his remaining years in poverty, writing letters to friends who no longer visited, playing cards with men who could not understand a single page of what he wrote. His intelligence did not save him. In many ways, it was the very thing that condemned him, because he saw through the Medici, he saw through the Pope, he saw through every smiling diplomat and every false treaty. And the powerful do not forgive the man who sees through them. They destroy him, not because he is a threat, but because his clarity is an insult to their performance. If you are watching this, you have felt this. Maybe you cannot articulate it yet, but there is a specific kind of exhaustion you carry that other people do not seem to have. It is the exhaustion of seeing too much, of processing too deeply, of understanding things you were never asked to understand. You have looked around rooms full of laughing people and felt a sadness you could not name, not because you are depressed, but because you can see the machinery behind the laughter. You can see who is performing. You can see who is desperate. You can see the cracks in the mask that everyone else mistakes for a face, and you cannot turn it off. Today we are going to go into the dark side of the mind you were given, not to make you feel sorry for yourself. Self-pity is the luxury of those who have given up. We are going into the darkness so that you can map it, so that you can stop being ambushed by your own intelligence and start wielding it like the weapon it was always meant to be. Machiavelli did not survive his exile by becoming less intelligent. He survived by learning to channel his intelligence into creation rather than consumption. He stopped letting his mind eat him alive and started using it to build something that would outlast every person who ever tried to destroy him. You must learn to do the same, but first you have to understand exactly what your intelligence is doing to you, because right now it is a fire burning inside a house with no chimney. The heat has nowhere to go, and the house is starting to crack. Let me describe a moment you have experienced hundreds of times, but have never heard anyone talk about. You are at a gathering, a party, a work event, a family dinner. The room is full of people talking and laughing, and the energy is light and social, and everyone seems to be having a perfectly normal human experience. And you are standing in the middle of it feeling like you are watching it from behind glass. You hear the conversation, but you are also hearing what is underneath the conversation. Your coworker is telling a funny story, but you can hear the insecurity driving it. They need the laugh. They need to be the center of attention because without it, they feel invisible. You can see that. Nobody else in the room can see that. Your friend introduces their new partner, and everyone smiles and says congratulations. But you notice the way the partner's eyes scanned the room when they walked in. You noticed the micro-expression of contempt when your friend mispronounced a word. You noticed the way the partner positioned their body slightly away during the introduction, as if already establishing distance. You see the ending of this relationship in its first 5 minutes, but you cannot say anything, because who says that? Who walks up to a friend at a party and says, "I do not think this person is good for you based on micro-expressions I observed in the first 30 seconds? Nobody. So you smile. You say, "Nice to meet you," and you carry the knowledge alone. This is the daily experience of the highly intelligent person. You are drowning in information that you did not ask for and cannot share. Your brain is an antenna that picks up every signal in the room, every shift in tone, every inconsistency between words and body language, every lie disguised as politeness, every truth hidden behind a joke. And because you cannot share this information without being labeled paranoid, judgmental, negative, or arrogant, you learn to perform. You learn to pretend you do not see what you see. You learn to laugh when they laugh, agree when they agree, nod when they nod. You become an actor in a play you did not write, performing a character called normal for an audience that would be horrified if they saw the real you. The real you who is sitting behind your eyes watching the performance and thinking this is exhausting. Machiavelli lived this exhaustion for his entire professional life. He served as the second chancellor of the Florentine Republic. He sat in meetings with ambassadors, military leaders, and heads of state. And in letter after letter to his colleagues, you can see a mind that was processing reality at a depth that nobody around him could match. He could see which alliances were genuine and which were theater. He could predict which mercenary captain would betray the Republic and which would hold the line. He could read the political winds of Italy the way a sailor reads the ocean, and his colleagues nodded politely and then ignored his advice. Not because they thought he was wrong, but because his accuracy made them uncomfortable. When you consistently see things that other people miss, you do not become popular, you become unsettling. People do not like being around someone who sees through them. It triggers a primal discomfort. The same discomfort you feel when someone stares at you for too long. The intelligent person's gaze is too penetrating, too aware, too present, and so people create distance, not with hostility, with something worse, with vague, undefined discomfort. They cannot explain why they do not fully relax around you. They just know that your presence makes them feel slightly exposed, like you can see something they are trying to hide. And they are right, you can. The isolation that results from this is unlike any other form of loneliness. It is not the loneliness of the person who has no friends. It is the loneliness of the person who has many friends, but is known by none of them. You have people in your life who think they know you. They know the performance, they know the mask, they know the version of you that laughs at the right moments, and agrees at the right moments and dims itself at the right moments to make them comfortable. But they do not know the mind behind the mask, the mind that is always running, always analyzing, always seeing the thing behind the thing. You have tried to share it, maybe once or twice. You opened up to someone about how you really see the world, about the patterns you notice, about the depth at which you process, and they looked at you the way you look at someone speaking a language you do not understand, with polite confusion, with the faint uncomfortable suspicion that something about you is different in a way they cannot categorize. So you closed the door again. You went back to the performance. You learned the lesson that every intelligent person eventually learns. The world does not want your depth. It wants your function. It wants what you can do. It wants your output, your solutions, your productivity. But it does not want to know how you see, because how you see is too much. And in a world that runs on comfortable surfaces, depth is a form of violence. There is a specific kind of hell reserved for the intelligent mind. It does not involve fire or punishment. It involves a room, a perfectly silent, perfectly empty room where you are locked inside with nothing but your own thoughts. And for most people, that room is boring. For you, it is a torture chamber, because your mind does not rest, it does not idle. It does not sit quietly and enjoy the silence. The moment external stimulation disappears, your brain begins to generate its own content. And the content it generates is relentless. It replays the conversation you had 6 hours ago and identifies 14 things you should have said differently. It projects forward to the meeting tomorrow and simulates 9 possible outcomes, 7 of which end badly. It pulls up a decision you made 3 years ago and re-examines it from angles you had not previously considered, and concludes that you were wrong and the consequences are still unfolding. It zooms out to the level of existence itself and asks questions so large that the mind buckles under the weight of them. Why am I here? What is the point of any of this? Does anything I do actually matter in a universe that will eventually collapse into cold, dark nothing? This is not anxiety, or rather it is not just anxiety. It is the natural behavior of a high-processing mind that has been given no worthy target. It is a supercomputer being used to refresh a weather app. The computational power is there, the challenge is not, and so the mind turns on itself. It begins to eat its own architecture. Every intelligent person knows the feeling of lying in bed at 2 in the morning with a brain that will not shut up. Not because something bad happened, but because the mind has found a thread, a problem, a question, an inconsistency, and it cannot stop pulling. It pulls and pulls and pulls, until the entire fabric of your piece unravels, and you are lying there staring at the ceiling with your heart rate elevated and your jaw clenched, wondering why you cannot just be like everyone else, why you cannot just watch the movie without analyzing the plot structure, why you cannot just eat the meal without thinking about the supply chain, why you cannot just enjoy the relationship without mapping its trajectory and calculating its probable lifespan based on behavioral patterns you have already identified. This is what psychologists call rumination, and research consistently shows that it is more prevalent in people with higher cognitive ability. The same neural architecture that allows you to solve complex problems also creates a tendency toward repetitive, recursive, self-referential thinking that feeds on itself like a snake eating its own tail. Machiavelli's letters from exile reveal a mind caught in exactly this loop. He wrote to Francesco Vettori about the agony of having a brain designed for statecraft, being forced to think about farming and firewood. He described the torture of watching incompetent men run the government he had served, while he sat powerless in the countryside with nothing to direct his intelligence toward except his own despair. The mind needs a mission. Without one, it becomes a prison. But the intelligent mind needs a mission of sufficient complexity. You cannot satisfy a mind that sees in 4 dimensions by giving it a 2-dimensional puzzle. It will solve the puzzle in minutes, and then spend the rest of the day solving you, pulling apart your insecurities, questioning your choices, analyzing your relationships until the analysis itself becomes a form of self-harm. This is connected to a deeper phenomenon that researchers have identified: the correlation between high intelligence and mood disorders. Studies have shown that individuals with IQs above 130 are significantly more likely to experience anxiety disorders, major depression, and existential crisis than the general population. Not because intelligence causes mental illness, but because intelligence removes the psychological buffers that protect less reflective minds from the weight of existence. The person of average intelligence can go through a breakup and feel sad. The person of high intelligence goes through a breakup and simultaneously processes the neurochemistry of attachment, the philosophical implications of impermanence, the sociological patterns of modern relationships, and the existential question of whether love is a biological trick designed to propagate the species. They are not just feeling the pain, they are understanding the pain. And understanding the pain adds a layer of meta-pain that compounds the original suffering exponentially. Ignorance is not just bliss, it is armor. And you do not have it. You walk through the world naked to every sharp edge of reality because your mind will not let you look away. It will not let you simplify. It will not let you reduce the complexity of existence to a manageable size. It insists on seeing everything, and seeing everything hurts. There is a game being played in every social environment you enter, at work, at school, in friendships, in families, in romantic relationships. The game has one rule that is never spoken but is always enforced. Do not make anyone feel stupid. That is the rule. Not do not be intelligent. You are allowed to be intelligent, You are allowed to solve problems and generate insights and produce excellent work, but you must do it in a way that does not threaten anyone's self-image. You must be smart enough to be useful, but not so smart that you become uncomfortable. The moment your intelligence crosses the threshold from useful to threatening, the social machinery activates. The penalties begin. In childhood, it starts with the label, know-it-all, teacher's pet, nerd. These are not descriptions, they are punishments. They are the tribe's way of telling the intelligent child you are different, and different is dangerous. Sit down. Dim your light. Stop making the other children feel inadequate. Most intelligent children learn this lesson before the age of 10. They learn that raising their hand too often makes them a target, that correcting the teacher makes them an enemy, that showing excitement about ideas makes them weird. So they begin the process of strategic dimming. They deliberately underperform. They hide their vocabulary. They pretend not to know the answer. They learn to be smart in secret and average in public. And this split, this fracture between who they are and who they perform, becomes the central wound of their psychological life, a wound that most of them carry into adulthood without ever understanding its origin. In the workplace, the penalty continues, but it wears a more sophisticated mask. The intelligent employee sees the flaw in the strategy. They raise their hand in the meeting and say, "I think there is a problem with this approach." What happens? The room goes cold, not because the observation is wrong, because the observation is right, and being right in a room full of people who missed the problem is an act of social violence. You have just made the manager look incompetent. You have just made the team feel foolish. You have just threatened the collective ego of the group, and the group will punish you, not with firing, that would be too obvious, with exclusion, with the slow, almost imperceptible withdrawal of warmth, with being left off the email chain, with the promotion going to the person who was less capable but more agreeable. Machiavelli experienced this penalty at the highest possible level. He served Florence with a level of strategic intelligence that history now recognizes as extraordinary. His diplomatic missions were brilliant, his military reforms were innovative, his political analysis was decades ahead of its time. And when the political winds shifted, when the Medici returned to power, Machiavelli was not kept on for his brilliance. He was discarded. Not because he lacked value, but because his intelligence was a mirror that reflected the Medici's own inadequacies back at them. A less intelligent advisor would have been easier to manage. A less perceptive mind would have been less threatening. The Medici did not need someone who could see through them. They needed someone who would nod and agree and make them feel wise. This is the tall poppy syndrome applied to the mind. In any group, the individual who rises above the average is cut down. Not by the group's worst members, by its most mediocre, because mediocrity cannot tolerate the existence of excellence. Excellence is a living accusation. It says by existing, I proved that more was possible, and that proof is intolerable to the person who settled for less. So the intelligent person learns to self-sabotage. They learn to hold back in conversations, to dumb down their insights, to present their ideas in a way that gives credit to others, to play small so that the group does not feel diminished. And over time, this self-sabotage becomes automatic. They no longer even notice they are doing it. They have internalized the social penalty so deeply that they punish themselves before the world gets the chance. They have become their own prison guard. The intelligent person who has fully internalized this conditioning walks through life with a permanent limp, not a physical one, a psychological one. They move through every interaction slightly hunched, slightly dimmed, slightly less than what they are. Because being fully who they are has been punished so consistently and so early, that they've come to believe that their full self is too much, that their depth is a burden, that their perception is a flaw. And the tragedy is that the world desperately needs what they are hiding, the solutions they are sitting on, the insights they are swallowing, the truth they are suppressing to make the mediocre feel comfortable. But the world has constructed a system that punishes the very thing it needs most. And the intelligent person, seeing this system clearly because that is what intelligent people do, chooses silence over exile, chooses dimming over punishment, chooses the slow death of self-suppression over the sharp pain of social rejection, and calls it wisdom. Everything I have described up to this point has been the cost, the tax that intelligence levies on the mind that possesses it, the isolation, the overthinking, the social penalty, the existential weight. the chronic low-grade pain of seeing too clearly in a world that rewards blindness. If I stopped here, this would be a tragedy. But Machiavelli's story does not end in tragedy. It ends in creation, and that is the key. The difference between the intelligent person who is destroyed by their own mind and the intelligent person who becomes dangerous is one thing: direction. Your intelligence is a river. Right now, it is flooding. It is pouring over the banks and destroying the landscape of your inner life. It is drowning your peace, your relationships, your ability to simply exist without analyzing existence. But a river that floods is not a defective river. It is an unchanneled one. The solution is not to reduce the flow. You cannot make yourself less intelligent. You should not want to. The solution is to build the channel, to direct the water, to give the flood a purpose so precise and so demanding that the river has no energy left to destroy the countryside. Machiavelli built his channel in exile. He directed the full force of his intelligence into writing. Not casual writing, not journaling. Strategic, purposeful, legacy-level creation. The Prince, the Discourses, The Art of War, works that consumed the totality of his analytical capacity and left nothing for the self-destructive loops. When he was writing, he was not ruminating. When he was analyzing the strategies of ancient Rome, he was not spiraling about his own irrelevance. When he was constructing arguments about the nature of power, his mind had a worthy opponent. And a mind with a worthy opponent does not turn on itself. This is the first discipline of the intelligent sovereign. Purposeful creation. You must build something, not someday, now. Something that demands the full depth of your cognitive ability. Something that does not bore you. Something that fights back when you push against it. A business with complex problems. A body of written work. A skill so demanding that mastery requires decades. A contribution to a field that is worthy of your obsession. The specific thing does not matter. What matters is that it is complex enough to absorb the river. If your creation is too simple, your mind will solve it in a week and go back to eating itself. The challenge must match the capacity. The second discipline is selective visibility. This is pure Machiavelli. He wrote that a prince must know when to be the lion and when to be the fox. Applied to intelligence, this means knowing when to reveal your mind and when to conceal it. You do not show your full intelligence to everyone. That is reckless. Most people cannot handle it. Most environments do not deserve it. You assess the room. You read the power dynamics. You determine whether showing your insight will advance your position or threaten someone whose retaliation could harm you. If the room is safe, you speak. If the room is hostile, you observe. You let the mediocre talk. You let them feel smart. You gather information while they perform. And you deploy your intelligence only when it serves your strategic interest. This is not dishonesty, it is survival. The intelligent person who broadcasts their intelligence indiscriminately is not brave, they are careless. And carelessness in a world that punishes brilliance is a luxury you cannot afford. The third discipline is emotional grounding. Your mind lives in the future and the past. It simulates outcomes that have not happened and replays events that cannot be changed. Meanwhile, your body exists only in the present. The present is the only place where peace is possible, and your mind almost never visits it. You must develop a practice that anchors your awareness to your body, to the physical, sensory, immediate experience of being alive right now, not thinking about being alive, being alive. This is why physical training is not optional for the intelligent person. It is medicine. When you are under a heavy barbell, your mind cannot ruminate. When you are sprinting, your mind cannot spiral. When you are engaged in a physical challenge that demands your full attention, the overthinking machine is forced offline. Not forever, but long enough for your nervous system to reset. Long enough for the cortisol to clear. Long enough for you to remember that you are not just a mind. You are a body. And the body knows how to rest in a way the mind has forgotten. Meditation serves the same function but from a different angle. Not the popular, commercialized version where you try to empty your mind. The intelligent mind laughs at that instruction. Real meditation for the intelligent person is the practice of observing your thoughts without following them. A thought arises. You see it. You do not chase it. You do not analyze it. You do not spin it into a thread that unravels your entire afternoon. You let it pass. Like a car on a highway, you are sitting on the overpass watching the traffic. You are not getting in the car. This is extraordinarily difficult for a mind that is designed to chase every thought to its logical conclusion. But it is the single most important skill you can develop, because it teaches you that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind the thoughts. And that awareness is still. That awareness is peace. That awareness is the one part of you that the intelligence cannot consume. Here is your protocol. 7 days. The intelligence protocol. On the first day, identify the worthy opponent. What is the project, the skill, the creation that is complex enough to absorb the full force of your mind? Write it down. Commit to it. Begin. On the second day, practice selective visibility. Go through an entire day revealing your intelligence only when it serves a clear purpose. Observe how much energy you save when you stop performing brilliance for audiences that do not deserve it. On the third day, train your body to failure. Push a physical boundary so demanding that your mind is forced into the present. Feel the silence that follows. That silence is what peace sounds like inside a loud mind. On the fourth day, sit in stillness for 30 minutes. No phone, no music, no book. Let your thoughts run. Do not chase them. Watch them like weather. They will storm. Let them storm. You are not the storm, you are the sky. On the fifth day, have one conversation where you listen more than you speak. Not strategic listening, deep listening. Listen to understand, not to analyze. Feel the difference between processing someone and being present with someone. On the sixth day, create something. Write a chapter, design a system, build a plan, pour the river into a channel and feel the relief of directed intelligence. On the seventh day, forgive your mind. This is the hardest one. Your mind has caused you immense suffering. It has kept you awake. It has isolated you. It has stolen joy from moments that should have been simple. But it was doing what it was designed to do. It was seeing. It was processing. It was trying to protect you by understanding everything. It was never your enemy. It was an engine without a track. Today, you give it a track. Today, you stop punishing yourself for being too much. There is a wound at the center of every intelligent person's life. It is the wound of being told, explicitly or implicitly, that the way your mind works is a problem, that you think too much, that you are too intense, that you need to relax, that you need to lighten up, that you need to just be normal. And over the years, that wound becomes a belief. The belief that your depth is a defect, that your perception is a burden, that the very thing that makes you extraordinary is the thing that makes you unlovable. That belief is a lie. It was installed by people who could not handle your light, and so they told you to dim it. You dimmed it to survive. And now you have dimmed it for so long that you have forgotten how bright it actually is. Machiavelli never dimmed. He was tortured and he did not dim. He was exiled and he did not dim. He was forgotten and he did not dim. He sat in a farmhouse with nothing, and he lit a candle, and he wrote words that have illuminated 5 centuries of human thought, not because the world asked for it, because his mind demanded it. Your mind is demanding the same thing. It is demanding a worthy channel, a worthy fight, a worthy creation. Stop starving it with small tasks and shallow conversations and meaningless entertainment. Give it the war it was built for, and watch what happens when a mind like yours finally has a direction. It does not just move, it conquers. If this reached the part of you that has been told you are too much, if it named the exhaustion of carrying a mind that never stops, if it gave language to the loneliness of seeing in a world that prefers to be blind, then do the one thing your intelligence has been preventing you from doing. Stop overthinking it. Subscribe, not because the algorithm asks for it, because you have spent your entire life looking for a place where your depth is not a disorder. You just found it. Welcome home.